This is Outside the Round with Matt Burrill for Ray's Rowdy Podcast.
Yeah. Check. I think we're solid. My man, Ramirez. Hey, man. My dude. Good to finally meet you, bro. And thank you to Miss Allison over there setting this thing up.
Absolutely, she's the best.
My brother, it's good to formally meet you on this beautiful Monday.
Dude, I'll take this. This whole week in Nashville feels like California.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's funny. It's like when you tell people, because I talk to my mom all the time, and she's out in California, and she'll be like, "How's the weather today?" And I'm like, "Oh, randomly every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, it's a beautiful California day," and she'll be like, "Mm-hmm." And I'm like, "Why can't you believe that? Like, no one can believe that we could have like at least like 1 or 2 days a year." But it feels great.
Yeah,
feels
dude.
Great.
Where in Cali you from?
Northern California.
Nice.
But like Southern California was like a second home to me, just because all my family was down there. So
nice.
I spent a lot of time in just California in general. It's such
Nice.
a big state, man.
Yeah, I've only been out I'm originally from New York.
Okay.
But I've only been out to San Diego, which is a cool spot
dude.
to go. If you're going to visit one
That's where a
spot
lot
in
of my
Cali-
family's from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm like San Diego specifically,
Yeah.
like that whole North County and South County, that's my spot.
Yeah,
too,
the street tacos blew my mind. And this was like years ago. I went out there BC before COVID. So I know I know the COVID changed. Slide that mic a little bit closer to you if you don't mind.
No problem.
Just to eat that up. But so how long have you been living out here in the South?
I think we're like coming on like year 5, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because we moved out here like right before things got crazy with COVID. And then like we found the spot like right of like March of 2020.
Yeah.
So it was like perfect timing. And then boom, I was like done touring for like 2 years. So it was like, okay, man, I'm really glad. Because as I was closing up in LA, man, that city was becoming like just so distant from what I remember, It was dead, so dead. And as somebody who's grew up and, I spent like the last 10 years of my life, 15 years of my life out in LA, it was hard to see the city like that, man.
Yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I feel about New York too, because I grew up in like the New York suburbs.
Yes,
so having New York City, like that whole area has changed,
dude. That was
tremendously.
It was like if you spent good time in the city to see like my city or whatever, but to see the city that like you love and like really connect with go through such a drastic change, man, it had like a huge effect on like my psyche and like my art and stuff. So I was like, let's go to where the where the creativity's at. And I don't know, it was actually my wife's idea was to move to Nashville.
Oh really?
Yeah, I got like cold feet too. We were supposed to move in like 2018. And
what was the reasoning for wanting to come here of all places, besides it being Music City and you being in the music game?
Well, it's really beautiful, but I'd always come out here and like do rights and stuff, whether it was like for myself or for like other artists. And I don't know, I just like really, I've always loved the city. I've been coming here for, about 10 years. And towards the end, like, towards like the later part, I started bringing my wife out. And she came out on this one trip. I was out here doing some writing and stuff. And we got like an Airbnb. And we were just like laying in bed. And she was just like, "Would you ever like think about moving here?" And I was like, "What?" I'm like, California boy. I mean, I'm like, I couldn't even fathom that.
Yeah.
And, but then I, started thinking about it right there in bed. And I'm like, I mean, I could do anything, I'm not attached to anything like that. So I was like, yeah, it could be cool. And then that's all you got to do is tell your wife, like, you just give her like an inch, dude. And you know how it goes, like with your girl, she'll like, she'll get it done,
Yeah.
Here's a Pinterest board. Here's some like Zillow stuff. I'm like, whoa.
Them Pinterest boards are dangerous.
Dude, they're
man.
dangerous.
Hell yeah.
They paint a whole reality. So, but I'm glad though, because that was the seedling that, kind of, we're 3 kids deep now. And
congratulations. That's awesome, man.
It's awesome, man. It's really beautiful. I know it's definitely changed a lot since even I started visiting here, but it's cool, man. It's so cool to see, just how much music is still just flowing through the streets here.
And it's all kinds of music. I think people
so crazy.
People on the outside think it's just
country
thing.
So funny, dude. They do.
There's so many different like little sections of town where cool shit is coming up. Like, you go to East Nashville, you don't even think you're in the South, bro.
100%.
It's a whole different vibe over there,
100%.
Whole different
It's like
vibe.
a mixture. I always say like East is like, it's like a mixture of like LA, Atlanta, and New York, and then Tennessee.
It's got a little Brooklyn in it, but it's got a little LA vibe. It's got some of those like hipstery spots of like even like Chicago or Austin.
Oh,
like
for sure.
Different elements. And that's what's cool is that it is a melting pot and that all genres are accepted here now. I don't think it was that way 10, 20 years ago.
Dude, not when we were kids. Remember, it was like, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I'm like 35. And it's like, actually, I'm 36 and like tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday, my man.
Thanks.
Hell yeah.
I mean, you know, like when I was at school, it was just like the rocker table and the rappers, you know, and then like the drama kids, you know, and I'm sure to some degree, but they're all listening to Post Malone and they're all listening to like, you know, Jelly Roll. It's like, it's all the same sort of people now, all listening to just good stuff, I feel.
What
which
table,
is cool.
what table were you sitting at?
Oh man, I wasn't at school.
What were you listening to?
I was out, dude. I should have been.
What were you doing?
Dude, I mean, you know, I would always like just be gone and like, I smoked a lot of marijuana, like, you know, a lot, you know, still.
I'm California sober, so that's what I do. I do that over drinking and stuff.
Dude, and I'll, you know, I'll tie it back, but I'm not like any, like, you know, I don't do any other thing other than weed ever.
Yeah.
So that's like my thing, you know, and in school, I mean, dude, it was always just band life and like writing songs, and we would just like, you know, cut school, go hang out at the homie's house that had the bad parents that would let us hang out there, and we just play music and smoke weed and then listen to records, and it's
the classic
cycle.
2000s band stuff.
Totally, man. And then, you know, go skating and just mess around. But yeah, I suffered tremendously in school. That was it's just a really difficult time for me, man.
But I'd say you turned out all right because those years, man, you figure out
some of that.
You figure out what you want to do. Like for me, like I did the college thing, but I was very involved in my college radio station, and I spent more time on the mic doing radio related
which
things.
Gave you that experience.
I was talking about San Diego before. I got my teachers to let me skip class to go to San Diego because I was going to help tour manage. Ended up not having anything to do with tour management, but help out an artist that was going out there.
Those are good teachers.
And it was like, because you get that real world experience. So now you've been in this music game so long. That starts then when you're hanging with the boys and you're creating and you're jamming out. You got to
kind of believe in it.
Yeah.
Or like there's this level of insanity that you got to have to where like you could see it.
Yeah.
You know, like I knew from the moment I started playing guitar, I was like, oh, all right, this is what I'm trying to do. Like, because before that, it was like skateboarding and basketball, you know? And I was like, in my head, I was like, well, you know, I'm trying to be like Michael Jordan, you know? I'm trying to be like, you know, freaking Roddy Mullen.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I heard Sublime and I fell in love with the music and I was like, oh, I want to learn how to play this on guitar. Then I started playing guitar. And the moment I started playing guitar, I was like, I'm never going to be Michael Jordan. I'll for sure never be Roddy Mullen. But this thing is fun. And I could like probably get good at this if I like keep practicing. And like, that's all it was. But it was the thing that kind of just, you know, took me from that point on, which was really early, like point in my life. I think I was like 12 years old when I already just kind of had that feeling like this was all I was trying to do forever.
Yeah.
So, you know, life kind of took me in like different places, but that was still like the core of everything. And I would, like, you know, I'd even have like teachers later on in school, you know, being like, hey, all right, you can go leave early. Cause I'd have like an acoustic show in Berkeley or something I'd have to make or whatever. Yeah. So, you know, it's cool to like, I guess it kind of helps out just having like a compass to kind of guide you through, you know?
Yeah. What are those early gigs like? And what was that first? Remember your first band? Back in the day?
Yeah, dude, totally. It was actually my first band I played drums for, which.
So you've been all over the place on the stage, all different things.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
cool.
Well, because like at an early age, like I started playing guitar. My best friend started playing guitar. My brother started playing guitar. Dude, the whole crew, we're all just guitar players.
Yeah.
That's the lamest thing in the world. It's like everyone wants to learn how to play guitar. No one's parents wants to buy them drums.
Yeah.
So it's like, we'd be like 8 guitar players deep. So I'd be like, well, I'll play bass. Fine. So I'd like learn to play bass. And then like, you know, my dad started hanging out with this dude, and they started a band. So my dad started playing drums later on in life, turned our garage into a jam room.
Oh.
So everything changed at that point.
Yeah.
Like in our garage, we had drums, guitar amps, PA, a keyboard with the amp, like all kinds of stuff. You know, my dad was a tweaker, so it was all stolen and it was all over the place. But it was there, and I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah.
And so I just became the utility dude by default. Cause like all the homies play guitar.
That's the best guy to be
Dude,
in the band.
It kept the music going.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Whatever anybody needed, I'd be like, oh, I'd step in. And mind you, I'm no like savant, okay? I could just do my thing and just at least hold it down.
Yeah.
Until someone greater came in
Yeah.
and be like, here, bro, here's the sticks or here's the bass. And then, you know, it just kind of allowed for the music to go on. Because I was always just encouraging all my homies, like all my friends growing up, like, bro, let's jam. Let's start bands.
Yeah.
Let's start that band. Let's do that band, whatever.
What were some of the early band names? Because I love like 2000s
Dude.
band names. People come up with the craziest shit when they're in high school. Like those
Yeah.
early ages, just like, this is the sickest name. Then you're like, nah, we're going to do this one. No, we're going to do this one.
I had one. It was called Stuck on Stupid because
Okay.
I liked the SOS.
Yeah.
But then we heard Slightly Stupid, and then we were like, well, we can't. It's not enough room for two stupids in the world, you know.
We got enough stupid.
And they're the ones that deserve that.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna go do that. And then another one we had was like, one of my like, for some reason, we started this like alternative band when we were in junior high, and that was it's called Arcadia. Because it was like just like a female version of an arcade. Just something like one of our buddies was like, I just wish we could just make love to my Xbox. And we're like, all right, man, we'll call it Arcadia.
Whatever
floats your boat, dude. Which, by the way, he ended up becoming a video game tester and working for Sony. So like, yeah, that's kind of rad. Shout out to Matt.
That's awesome.
But yeah, man. And then someone just was like, yo, I'm gonna call you Rome. And that was like my solo name. From that point on, I was like, okay, I'm not. I was like trying to start all these bands and stuff, and it's hard for people to really kind of like commit, you know, and like want to like just be in a band all the time and do stuff for free and be broke and poor forever. And then, you know, I was like, you know, I'm just gonna go by Rome, and like just gonna stick with that, and you know, do my own thing and try and put a band around my songs. And that's what it was for a while. You know, that was like the last band name I had until I met the Sublime guys.
Yeah. And you talk about like growing up, like hearing Sublime and wanting to learn the songs on guitar. And then a huge chapter of your career is been being on the road with those guys that you remember listening to and hearing for the first time and getting you into music. What kind of fever dream was that? Like,
I mean, it is very much just like the movies, you know. I went from like zero to hero, like, or, you know, so to speak. In terms of my life, I surpassed everything that I'd ever thought I'd ever amount to, you know, which is pretty crazy. But, you know, that's like, I guess it kind of goes back to, you know, like I always believed that I'd be doing something in music.
Yeah.
Never to this magnitude, never with my favorite band. You know, these are things that you could never pencil in. But I knew that, you know, I had a feeling like if I, you know, followed, because of my mom, she was always just like, you know, do what makes you happy. And like, you know, all the other shit will work itself out.
Yeah.
But just, you know, try and just be happy first and foremost. And I'm very fortunate in knowing what made me happy very early on. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
And it was music. I mean, if it was, you know, shoes, you know, maybe I would have started a shoe business or something, but it was music. And so I had that, and never in a like million years would I think it would be like with Sublime. But, you know, when that opportunity came, it was like, I had to really take a step back because I knew that it was one of those decisions where it was like a total fork in the road where it's like you could go this way or you could go that way.
Yeah.
But this is like one of those moments in your life. You maybe have like 2 or 3 of those, if you're lucky, where this decision is like super, super crucial.
Yeah.
And I just remember like having to take a second and like literally like, you know, after they asked me, I was like, you know, sitting in like dude's living room and I was like, can I get a second? Like, can I just like step outside? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. And I just like stepped outside, and this is back when I smoked. I was like smoking a cigarette and just like looking up at the sky and like just talking to God. Like, is this really going on right now?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's going on? This is like insane.
Like, you for real right now?
This is like everything and some, you know, like the whole kitchen sink. So, you know.
And how old are you when this decision,
Dude, I was like 18 when this was going on.
So you're fresh out of, so this.
Yeah, or like 19. Yeah, I dropped out of high school when I was like in sophomore year to like move down south and do the band thing, and you know, moved to LA, started working at a studio, and then, you know, just like interning like wherever I could.
Yeah, get your reps and pay your dues.
Yeah,
so
man.
So to go through that, it's not like this just happens where you get this call from the Sublime guys. It's you were paying your dues in a studio, and you those couple of years of grinding in LA, which I've never been to LA, but it sounds like New York, where you've really got to bust your ass, because if you're not, somebody else is, and you got to get that opportunity.
Yeah,
it leads you to like that.
They got like the best people flying in every day in LAX, just like the most talented and the most like handsome and prettiest people every day, every hour. The flight's dropping off like the next Billie Eilish or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, but that's what kind of led me out of LA, was because I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I'm just trying to get a freaking job at Subway right now so I can keep affording to sleep on this couch, let alone to finish the song that I was writing like a month ago. Like, I'm just trying to survive, my guy. So that's where I like started hanging out in Orange County more, and where I like was frequenting the studio, and I met the studio owner. And I mean, that's when everything kind of really started changing.
You became a part of the scene.
A whole different scene.
You got to see a whole new scene, and that
whole new thing.
That scene was popping at the time,
dude. It was like just getting going.
Yeah,
really.
Like that's what. So that's like what, like 08, 07, 09, like that era.
And that's like actually even before the Sublime, like anything with Sublime happened. Like, that's where I met this band called the Dirty Heads.
Yeah.
And you know, they were like just kind of getting their thing going and just touring around in the van. You know, playing to like 50 people, and we got together and wrote a song, and that song went #1 and changed all of our lives in like 3 months. So it was like this crazy thing of like everything happening all at once, because this was all going on at the same time of me hanging out with Eric and jamming Sublime songs. It was like I'd be doing that, and then I would be like hanging out with the Dirty Heads and like playing shows in the van with them because this new song's popping at radio. And then at the same time of all that, Sony just signed me as a writer, and they were like, do you want to write songs for other artists? And I'm like, I didn't even know artists didn't write their own shit. Like,
I didn't know I could just get paid to write songs.
I had no idea.
What is a publishing deal?
So 100%. So I was like, let's go. So I'd get off the road with that, jam with Eric, some Sublime stuff, and then go, you know, down to LA and then just do writing for like Rihanna and David Guetta and all this crazy other stuff. So it was, and all this was all going on at once. And I was like, life is awesome. This is never going to stop. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And it just like, you know, just continued to just open up more doors, and things were just, you know, it was nuts. But circle back to you know, the getting it going, what that was like. It was very much like the movies, because it is like that. Yeah. Everything, like, it's like this straight line, and then something pops, and then it's like, if it like really pops, and it's like, and it goes, and everyone like attaches on, and then, you know, you meet all these people, and it's just like this crazy rush. And I'm just grateful to like be over that and kind of like on like the calm waters again, and then kind of see that, and like I'm still alive to be like, dude,
you
know, I'm not like beaten down or jaded from the game.
Yeah,
you know?
I spent a few years, kind of like my background. I was in radio for a while up in New York, and then moved down here, and then I ended up on the road as a tour manager, as a merch stuff. So I did the road thing.
Yeah, you know,
I've done the van, I've done the bandwagon. I've been lucky enough to do the bus a couple times. I've done the SUV, all kinds of shit. But that road grind, man, I'm feeling it this week, because we're in festival season.
Okay, so you're still in it.
I'm on stage emceeing people right now.
Okay.
Like doing with Raised Rowdy, what we do. So my voice, how do you keep your vocals right? Because that's something I struggled with. And I wasn't even singing 45-minute set or hour set. I was just up there hyping up the crowd in between sets. My man DJ.
Lots of water.
Lots of water, hydration.
I mean, that sounds so boring, but it's like you get to that point where, you know, it is like it's your job. Like
Yeah.
it's like what you do. Like, you know, if you build houses, like you gotta like, you know, take care of your shit, like I imagine, or something.
Yeah.
I can't build anything. My wife is a far better builder than I am.
My girlfriend's a better builder than I am. Same.
Dude,
Yeah, I
right?
feel that. Hey,
We just do what we do best.
totally,
okay?
totally cool. Go ahead, baby. You
It's
got
all
this.
good.
Yeah.
Right. No ego here, baby.
Yeah.
Build a bunk bed. But I, you know, I keep my lawn green though. But what was I saying? But yeah, man, dude, just honestly, like, I know if I can get a good night's rest and then, you know, drink some water. Honestly, if I could just go to bed early and like not stay up hella late, bullshitting with the guys, yelling, laughing, you know, the later I am, it's the later I'm drinking. So if I could just cap that, then I'm always good the next day.
Because then you end up into the cigs and the cigars.
Yeah.
And then you end up at the bar at the after party.
dude,
and then
that's
you're trying,
real.
Then you're trying to
That's
talk
real.
over the music.
Oh, yeah.
And you wake up the next day and you're like, fuck. And then you got to get that. Like, I just got some of that vocal spray. I'm
Yeah.
trying that this week. I'm trying like the throat coat
Yeah.
stuff. Like
That'll all
that
work.
shit. Yeah. So,
Dude,
but
it's
I've
just
gained
sleep.
an appreciation for you guys that
Oh,
have to
dude.
go out there, especially a guy like you that's a singing motherfucker, man.
Oh man, thank you.
Like, honestly.
Once
like,
I had kids, dude, that was it. The cigarettes, the going to the bar until like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it was all gone.
How old are your little ones?
7, 5, or well, he's gonna be 7, 5, and 3. She turns 3 in like 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah. I got him tattooed here because
That's sick.
I need to know the dates always. It
That's
comes in
awesome.
so handy.
Yeah.
It really does. I'm like,
Yeah.
when's your birthday?
That's
Oh, yeah.
awesome, dude.
But yeah, man, like once I started having children, I was like, oh wow, I can actually sing for like, you know, these next 7 shows without it sounding like awful, you know?
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't staying up partying so much.
Yeah. What's writing a country song versus writing a pop, writing with Nashville folks versus writing with LA folks? Because I look at like, say like current like a Sabrina Carpenter song, like that
Yeah.
fucking espresso song that you can't go without hearing right now.
Yeah.
And there's like 30 writers on the thing.
Totally.
Like the writing credits, like it's a whole different thing out there versus
Yeah, it's
here,
wild.
right?
Well, a lot of the time too is like in LA, like you'll get like a starter, like you'll just sample a track from the 90s. And, you know, was it out of my head? Is it out of my mind? How can I ever be so fine? Boom, there's 5 writers off top, like starting.
Oh, because if it comes from somewhere else,
Yeah,
it's-
just immediately you could tack that on. So like, especially if you're gonna sample like "You're My Little Boot Thing," "You're My Little Don't Like Boot Thing," nah. That's a huge like what is that? A Casey and the Sunshine Band
Yeah.
sample in there. Well, there's like 7 on that off top. So already, this is why you see on some of these like, you know, Rihanna records or some of these Jay-Z records, it's like they'll be using 3 samples in one composition. It's like 10 writers right there. And then they get their 10 writers. Now you got 25 writers.
and you
on
got the
this
guys
joint.
making the beats and people that are in the room.
100%. So, I mean, it becomes this giant thing. And that's very conducive to Los Angeles. Like, you know, out there, in a lot of the sessions that I'm in out there, I mean, it's just like whoever's in the room, you just dice it. And you're just coming up with the idea. You're working on so much volume out there that you'd be lucky if anything even goes, you know? So it's more so just like, let's just get ideas and you know, keep the creativity going out here. But out here, it's a lot different because the ecosystem is different for the creative out here. At least more so, you know, a little while ago. It's really expensive out here now, but in comparison to LA, it's still so much better. But out here, you know, it's very common. Like it's not uncommon for a successful songwriter to own a home.
Yeah.
You know, in LA, I mean, that's a whole different ball game. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean by all this is like as songwriters, you can see other songwriters winning and seeing their success and being praised on billboards, going down Music Row, and it's this whole thing where, you know, it's a profession and it's way more like, you know, serious and it's way more organized and structured and you could just kind of see it where I feel like, and this is my opinion, by the way, but in Los Angeles, you know, it's just so much more of like a shot in the dark and more broad that, you know, the percentage isn't as like revered as it is here in LA, you know? I mean, here in Nashville, where like, it's like, yo, is this a 3-way or a 4-way? I don't even know if I'm going to do the right. You know, okay, it's a 3-way. All right, I'll show up for that. Like, that's a real thing, you know? And And I totally appreciate that because people know here, they're not out here for the most part, listening to Splice, trying to catch a vibe. It's like, no, you're coming here to write a song.
Yeah.
It's like we're here at 9 a.m. We're going to write a song, and I'm trying to be out of here by 2. But if we're here till 4, it is what it is, and give it your best. And that's such a different environment than a lot of LA, especially when you're young and kind of upcoming.
Oh, I bet.
Working with other upcomers, it's like, we're in LA, dude. We're in a writing camp over here at, East West. Hell yeah. Hey, can you send the runner to get a bottle? Like, it's a different vibe,
Yeah. Have you found writers that you vibe with really well out here?
There's some awesome ones out here. Yeah, totally, man. Shout out to my boy Chris Gilbuda, Jordan Fletcher.
Oh, dude, Jordan.
Jordan's so good, man.
So Jordan,
so talented.
Jordan is one of my favorite dudes in town.
He's
talk
great,
about
man.
just salt to the earth guy.
Yeah, right. And talented. Like,
it's funny.
Dude,
the band
awesome.
that I used to sell merch for is a band called Muscadine Bloodline, and Jordan was their original merch guy.
Oh,
So
no
Jordan
way.
and I have that in
Dude,
common.
that's awesome.
I had him on the pod a few years back, and
Oh, sick.
love what he does, and he brings
Yeah.
that Florida. That
He
I
does,
can see how
man.
you two would create well together because it's
Dude,
just
we write great, man.
vibes,
Yeah,
man.
we have some songs that I want to be putting out, and he's a talent for sure. I mean, that's like one thing out here, man. That is, I'm very, very grateful for since moving back here is like being much more appreciative of like the song, In LA, it's kind of easy to get kind of caught up in the game too.
Oh,
there's
I
a lot of
bet.
stuff going
I
on,
bet.
and there's people, and you start thinking of like moves and your career more so. But at least for me coming out here, it was just I'm sure it's a lot of, like, it's really complex for, if you grew up here in Nashville, like everything that's going on now and how busy it is and everything. But in comparison to like, growing up in Hollywood specifically, like, man, it's so wild out there. Like music is just a small subset. Like, it's like you got influencers and film and tech and TikTok. And it's like, it's such a different beast out there where
Yeah.
it can get noisy. And out here,
Yeah, it's a tough ecosystem.
you can just focus on the song.
Yeah.
And the song is
Yeah.
still so powerful out here. And I love that about Nashville.
Yeah, dude, because it all starts with the song.
It does.
It all starts with the song. You can have some great musicians, but they got to have a song to play.
Sometimes you got to remind the industry folks that sometimes.
Dude,
you know?
honestly, man, honestly. So, looking over the notes that we got here. So the solo career thing. When was the decision to really? How did that all kind of transpire?
2020, man. Once we got on that serious lockdown, like I started to do live streaming on Twitch.
Yeah.
I like turned on some cameras.
Twitch is a cool thing, man.
Dude, it was so much fun. So much fun. And like, it was cool because I'd been just immersed in like Sublime World for so long, and then I'd get off Sublime World, and then honestly I just like write and cut for other artists and stuff. I did get a record deal when I first joined Sublime. I signed like a double deal with Fueled by Ramen, and man, that was like just such a crazy time, like because I work with so many just awesome people, but I was just getting pulled in so many different ways. And then like with Sublime, as busy as it was and in its heyday, like, the rendition with me in it, like it was just like my focus was just so all over the place. It was like so hard for me to really sit down and be like, this is what I want to do. It's like, I'm writing with all these like awesome people that I love, and I'm like touring the world with Sublime. Like, this is so hard to just focus on me right now.
Yeah, for sure.
But sometimes the world hands it to you. And that's what the pandemic was for me. It was like kind of crazy, but it was the first time since being in the band where we'd ever like took the year off, but like didn't play.
Yeah.
I mean, cause we just always like, we're just hitting our markets.
You guys
and
were
stuff.
just always.
We're always out.
Always out, dude. Like
always playing.
Growing up in the Northeast, you guys would come to Jersey and
100%.
and like hit the.
We do
hit
like
the
2 nights
coastline.
there, and then we go down a little bit more, and then play down like on the beach, like Hampton. It's like it's crazy, dude. But that's what like, dude, it was like the funnest thing in the world. That's what like taught me everything and like weathered me, and like I wouldn't trade none of it. I've been all over the world because of Sublime, so very grateful for that. But that little like lull when we took that time, when the whole world got shut down for pandemic, man, I started live streaming, and then just like actually kind of like connecting with these people that we was playing to for like the last, 7-8 years, and just kind of like live streaming and being like, yo, what's up? We started building this little community, and
Yeah.
dude, it was just like mad fun. And, be like, okay, I'll be live streaming again on Friday. And then, they'd set up like a group and they'd be like, he's live streaming on Friday. And it just started to turn into these things where like, I would start running through the Sublime with Rome catalog on acoustic, and then I would go through the Sublime catalog, and then they would like send me songs to like cover on the stream.
And then probably the best part, you get to play the shit you've been working on. Like,
Well,
that's stuff people haven't even heard.
Dude,
They go nuts.
that was the part.
When you say, hey, we're going to play an unreleased one, people go nuts. They hear unreleased
100%.
is a magical word.
Dude, it
to the
is,
diehards, man. The family loves that.
They
man.
love it. And I didn't even know that was like kind of what was brewing. But, I mean, in the comments, they were just like, what do you got? Like, let's hear some of the stuff you've been working on. I'm like, duh, I should probably start working on some stuff. So like, then I just started working on,
Yeah.
and honestly, man, like that's when I started to really put together like this sound of everything that like roots, rock steady where I'm from, but mixed in with the writing that I, that I come from. And then, with this like soul from like how I grew up with and what my voice lends itself to. And it started to kind of make sense. And, I started putting together all these songs, and then boom, it was like the lights went back on, and they're like, okay, we're out on tour. We're making up for lost time. All the people on our team, everybody was just like, okay, you guys got to hit the road. It's time. And, that got kind of put on the back burner. But this last year, being on the road with Slightly Stupid this last summer, man, it was like
another full circle moment. You talk about that band, that SOS idea you had
dude,
earlier, and then
it's
to
so
be out
crazy.
with those guys, dude.
Dude, I'd be out like drinking beers on the guy's bus, and just like, we'd be having our bro moments. Like, I love you, man. I grew up worshiping you. They'd be like, you do Sublime So Justice. I love those guys, man. They're such great dudes. But yeah, man, you can kind of start to see when like the writing is like on the wall for a project, because it's kind of like a marriage, like you get to know someone so well, like the subtleties of just when things start to shift and when things start to change. And that had really started kicking in like at the top of last year with Sublime with Rome. At the top of 2023, there are a lot of things just kind of going on internally with Eric's health and, with aligning everything. And you could, we were in the middle of making a record, and you could just kind of see like, okay, there's going to be some like, serious decisions that are going to have to be made. And, at the same time, I had been living in Nashville and just like writing a whole bunch of music. So it's not like that part of me ever stopped.
A whole catalog of everything.
Just
all kinds of shit.
stuff. Just like a bunch of great songs, because the talent out here is just stupendous. And, I'm like a workaholic, so it's like a great combination.
Oh, perfect, bro.
And
perfect.
so, I'm really thinking about it. And, in all honesty, like the whole idea, like for me, towards the end of our summer tour, we kind of went through some stuff, and I told the guys, I was like, listen, I'd like to fulfill what we got on the books for the remainder of the next 12 months. I know we got stuff slammed up, but I want to take some time off, and I want to do my thing. I want to put out this music and some records. And it seemed like everybody was on the same page for that. But then, like 3 months later, I'm pretty sure they kind of, took an offer from Coachella and decided to keep the band going, but with Brad's son as a singer.
Yeah.
And I mean, this band was never my band. It'll always be Brad, Bud, and Eric's band. You know? And I have tremendous respect for Sublime always, because those are my favorite band. How could I not? But my whole thing was like, as long as we can finish out the shows for the fans and nobody gets sued and everything's good, like then I'm like, y'all do whatever you want to do. Like that's amazing. No hard feelings. I just don't want anybody to like feel like they paid for something and didn't get what they wanted.
Yeah.
And that's the part that becomes tricky for me, because when you throw out, two instances of the same band touring, like that can become confusing for people when the narrative isn't there. And well, I just would have loved to known that this was going on, so we could have like, handled what we wanted to say and done this gracefully for the sake of the legacy,
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
but you don't always get, what you want. So
Dude,
it is what it is. And, they'll find their success. I know that, And I mean, I'm having the time of my life just connecting with these fans on the farewell tour and setting up the new music, you know?
Yeah, dude, exactly. And the new music. I hear, like you said, you've been working. You're a damn workaholic. You're
man, I'm always teasing it online on the socials and stuff.
Yeah. You're teasing to the folks. You're working on a lot of stuff. What do we got to look forward to right now in the year 2024? We got some new music coming?
Yeah, man, I got a new single that I'm dropping in July. I'm super excited about.
What's the vibe? What's it called? What's the vibe of this new single?
So I'm taking everything like deconstructed on this one just to kind of get back to like my roots. That's how I got started, was with like broken down acoustic, vocal, acoustic instruments. So instead of like really kind of hitting it full-fledged with like full production, I wanted to kind of reintroduce myself with like the roots.
And that is such a reflection of, hey, I've been living in Nashville for a while. This is
right?
how we do the shit here.
I want to sing it and I want to play it on my guitar.
That's the Nashville way, dude. The singer-songwriter, and let the song have its moment at the core.
Exactly.
And then you can develop it from there, bro.
Yeah,
100%.
So this is the first song that I put together in the pandemic. You know, and it's really like for the fans, because this was the one that they were like, yo, please. I'm like super tight with like my supporters. Shout out to the Romies.
We're
like
Romies,
in
baby.
the Discord and the Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Like I'm always trying to give back to them. Always, you know, I mean, it's such a awesome like relationship and ecosystem that we all kind of share. It's like our own world. So, you know, I'm always like, what song you guys trying to hear next? You know, and I'll be in the live streams and I can just kind of tell by the, you know, by the feedback and stuff. So this song Black and Blue is the first single that I'm dropping. Start of the summer. It'll be out in July, and yeah, man, I'm pumped. I was just in the studio finishing up some of the production on it, and yeah, man.
So new single Black and Blue.
Yes, sir.
Coming in July, you said?
Yeah, I think it's the 19th, 17th. July 17th.
Hell yeah, dude.
First date. I've been wanting to announce that.
That's sick, man. So and you've been in town now. Where are some spots in Nashville that you like going to? Like where does Rome hang out in Nashville?
Well, when I'm home, man, my living room.
When you're home, when you're home, yeah. Well, I guess yeah.
Dude,
you have been on the road a lot.
Dino's, love Dino's. Got a great cheeseburger.
They do have a good burger.
Where else? Probably nowhere really fun. There's a spot called La Muñeca on Nolensville Pike. I'll go there. It's got really, really good Mexican food. And it's next to the Talpas Market where you can go and, you know, it's like your big super Mex market.
Yeah, it's a whole, like, I didn't realize coming from New York that there'd be this much Mexican food in Nashville, Tennessee.
Nolensville Pike, bro. That's like my spot.
Bro.
Like, I go there and I'm like, oh, okay.
South Nash.
I'm in LA again.
Yeah,
I'm in South Central.
South Nash to Antioch. It's funny. We joke around. We joke, like, I used to live in Antioch, and it's like, we call Antioch, we call it the other LA. Like, you've got Los Angeles, you've got Louisiana, you've got Lower Alabama, and then you've got Lower Antioch. The other LA.
Totally.
Know? So yeah, there's some
Nolensville's lit. There's a lot of good stuff over there.
Great like Latino food, Mexican food culture.
Coco's Italian. I just had that.
Coco's
that was
is
banging.
Fire, bro.
Banging, bro.
Fire.
Super good. There's a spot, what's that? Where's that spot that Cheese always goes to? The Tea and Kettle Tavern? What's it called? The Tavern? It's out in the middle of Fairview, but it's really good.
Okay, so that's out there,
breakfast biscuits. Yeah. And then where else? Man, I cook a lot. You know, I got a Traeger. Big shout out to Traeger.
Ooh.
They, like, before that, I mean, I was never really a cooking guy, you know. I'd barbecue my fair share, you know, some burgers or something. But
yeah.
They laced up our band with the Traeger in like 2017, and we took it on the road. And dude, we were all cooking, like even OG, like Eric was cooking it up too. It was like fun. So you know, I like was making a bunch of content with it, and they sent me a new one, and for my house, they sent me a new one for my house.
Sick.
And man, I just really got into it. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna learn how to do this, and man, this is going to sound really like dramatic, but I really do mean this. If it wasn't for Traeger, I don't think I would be like cooking as much for my family as much as I do.
Yeah.
Like I've like, you know, really took on a huge role of like the guy who cooks, because I mean, my wife, she cooks amazing meals as well, but like, it's like it's easy for me to just be able
Yeah.
to cook and provide for the kids too, like with the food game, because
Yeah.
I'm just always on the Traeger and it's right there, and I just turn it on. I'm like, we're gonna eat chicken, we're gonna eat this, and I'll just
Yeah.
cook whatever protein we got. So
That's awesome.
It's been awesome, man. Just experimenting and just trying new shit out on it, you know.
That's sick, man. What's something that you would tell that that 14, 15-year-old Rome dropping out of high school, getting ready to do his thing? What advice would you give him now, looking back 20 plus years later? What would you tell that kid that's like, yeah, I'm not doing this school thing, I'm going to music, I'm moving to LA? Like,
just keep making decisions based on fun. It'll serve you right. You know, that's still all I do. It's just if something sounds like, you know, I don't get too caught up on like numbers or that kind of stuff. Like, always, like when a band sends me something, I always listen to the song first.
Yeah.
I'm like, is the music good? To dictate, you know, if I want to listen to them. Like even your podcast, like when Allison sent it over, I was like, just send me a clip. I just
Yeah.
want to see what it's about. And I'm like, oh, this is dope, you know? Later after the fact comes, oh, is it popping? Is it that? But it's just, do I want to, like, you know, be with other people who are putting out good shit, good art, you know?
Yeah, do I want to do this? And then also like living for the story and being like, I'm gonna want to tell this, like,
Totally.
I'm gonna want to tell this story, or this is gonna be something. This is
100%.
This has the potential to be something really
100%.
cool, like,
And
cool
and
memory.
you gotta, you know, like with me, just at an early age, I was always just like, I'm just a down dude. I'm always down. Like, you could, you know, you want to go do this later? I'm down. Let's do it, you know? So, you know,
Hell yeah.
but you got to like kind of stay open-minded for that. And, you know, if you're doing things for like money, if you're doing things for like, you know, clout or something, like you're probably going to get let down. But if you're doing things for a good time, you'll probably have a good time, you know? So,
Chances are.
yeah.
And then, you know, my boy Trey Bonner, right?
Yeah, dude.
So
of course, Trey's
that is-
amazing.
That is my best friend. Do you have a good Trey Bonner story? Because I spent time on the road with him. Me and him were on the road together for about probably like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, we've been through all kinds of shit together. That's my dude.
He's a great guy, man. Well, me and him, like, it was like some like random like winter day in December, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna shoot some content, and he like came over to my house, and you know, he was like, just stand right here in front of the bush. This is a good shot. And I'm like, right here? He's like, yeah, a little more. I'm like, here? He's like, yeah. And then we like shot this video, and then that thing got like 2 million hits on like Instagram, and like, dude, I got like 70,000 followers in like 2 months. I was like, dude, we got to shoot more videos, bro.
Bonner's he's just the vibe, dude.
Oh, he's great, man. He's a talent, and you know, he's another one of those people where it's like, you know, you want to work with people who are like, love what they do, and
Yeah.
they're passionate, you know, and then they put out good stuff, and
Yeah.
good things happen, I think, when you align a lot of that energy together, you know.
Yeah. I remember being on the road with Bonner. We were in Milledgeville, Georgia, and we were staying at like a friend of the artist's like house or whatever.
Yeah.
So Bonner didn't have to do too much. I did all the driving, doing TMing in the van. Bonner went through a case of White Claw before the show, before doors. He went
Must
through
be
it.
nice,
Oh,
bro.
dude, he was loving it. He's like, man, my photos are gonna be extra blurry tonight. He was awesome.
That's
I love Bonner's my dude. So big shout
He's a
out
good
to
guy.
TB Trey Bonner. Well, Rome, it's been cool getting to know you, dog, and appreciate
Heck
you
yeah,
coming
man.
out here to the Herm. I got the surf side for you.
Thank you
that
very
home
much.
take that home to the wifey. Or if you want to enjoy it, it's vodka iced tea. It's
Oh, I'll be enjoying these.
very good vibe with what you're doing. It's very
Sweet.
very Rome friendly, like the
Yeah.
chill vibes. You
Oh,
know,
dude.
you're sitting out,
can
beautiful
see it
day,
pairing.
beautiful day. You're cooking on the Traeger. Crack one of these. You'll be chilling. There you go. There's a good pairing right
That's
there.
the move
Where
right
can people
there,
go to
bro.
find you on all the socials, and where can we? I want to jump on one of these lives and watch you do your thing.
Oh,
with
dude.
all the Romies out there.
Heck yeah.
Where can we find those? When do those happen?
I got them synced up to where I when I go live, it's on like Twitch and on YouTube.
Oh,
So
cool.
you know, you don't gotta, you know, pick one, do them both. Yeah, so I try and do them weekly. Gets a little difficult, but they're usually like on a Wednesday or Friday. Whenever my kids go spend the night at their grandparents, and I can actually, you know, sing at night, so I can do it. And then you can follow me on, like, you know, just Instagram at Rome Ramirez, my name, TikTok, all that stuff. But I'm usually pretty active on like Instagram and YouTube. I'm always like uploading like weekly vlogs and stuff on YouTube and just all kinds of music content stuff. Yeah, I love it, man. It's fun.
Dude, we love it, man. And thank
Appreciate
you for coming and doing this. Y'all be sure to check out our man, Mr. Rome Ramirez. All the Romies out there. Shout out to all the Romies.
Yeah.
Black and Blue's coming soon, but be on the lookout for that new stuff that he's always teasing. And bro, appreciate you coming on.
Much love,
and
man.
hanging
Thanks
out.
for having me.
Thank you guys as always for watching and listening to Outside the Round. You want to find out more about us? Visit raisedrowdy.com. For my man Rome, I'm Matt Burrill. This has been Outside the Round.
Peace.
I ain't never been the kind for staying in one place for too long. I ain't never been the best at saying I love you to a girl I love. Only got a couple tricks up my sleeve. They usually just make them leave. So if you know me, if you really know me, you know I'm just a two.